くりレ夢ムです。ゆっくりマリサだぜ。
Hi, Raimo. Hi, Marissa. Hey guys. What the FBI wants to know about you. The entry exam.
ゆっくりしていってね。
Section 1. Every year, tens of thousands of Americans apply to become FBI special agents. Most of them never make it past the first round. Not because they're not smart enough. Not because they don't have the right degree. Not because they failed a background check. They fail because of a test. And not the kind of test you can study for. The FBI entrance process is one of the most secretive, most psychologically sophisticated screening systems ever designed by any organization on Earth. It doesn't just test what you know. It tests who you are, how you think, how you react under pressure, what you do when no one is watching. And buried inside that process are questions, scenarios, and evaluations so strange, so carefully constructed, that former applicants still talk about them years later, trying to figure out what they were really being asked. What is the FBI actually looking for when it screens its agents? And what do the tests they use reveal about the hidden science of the human mind? That's what we're investigating today. Section 2. The story begins. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, was founded in 1908. For most of its early history, the hiring process was relatively straightforward by the standards of federal law enforcement. You applied. You were interviewed. You were checked. If J. Edgar Hoover, the Bureau's legendary and a highly effective investigative agency, and a deeply homogeneous, sometimes corrupt one. Over the next 2 decades, the Bureau began overhauling its hiring from the ground up. They brought in psychologists, behaviorists, researchers who studied decision-making under stress. They wanted to build something more rigorous, something that would catch what a standard interview couldn't. What they built was the Special Agent Selection System, known internally as SAS. And if you look closely at what SAS actually tests for and why, the picture that emerges is one of the most fascinating case studies in applied human psychology you'll ever encounter. Section 3. The evidence. Let's walk through what actually happens when someone tries to become an FBI special agent. Because the process itself is the mystery. Phase 1. The application filter. The FBI doesn't take everyone. You need to be a U.S. citizen, between 23 and 36 years old at the time of appointment, have a 4-year college degree, and pass a physical fitness test. You need a clean record. No drug use within a defined window. No financial crimes. No foreign allegiances that can't be explained. That filters out the majority of applicants before a single psychological test is administered. But here's what's interesting about even this first phase. The FBI isn't just looking for clean records. They're looking at patterns. A single parking ticket means nothing. A pattern of parking tickets, combined with other minor violations, combined with certain financial behaviors, means something. Former FBI analysts have talked about this publicly. The Bureau isn't interested in perfect people. They know perfect people don't exist. What they're looking for is self-awareness, honesty, an ability to acknowledge mistakes. An applicant who tries to hide a minor infraction on their application almost always gets cut. Not because of the infraction, but because of the hiding. That principle, the cover-up is worse than the crime, runs all the way through the FBI's evaluation philosophy. Phase 2. The written test. The FBI's written exam, called the Phase 1 test, covers 4 domains: logical reasoning, figural reasoning, personality, and a situational judgment component. The logical and figural sections are what most people expect. Pattern recognition, deductive reasoning, the ability to take complex information and draw accurate conclusions quickly. But the personality section is where things get strange. It's not a standard personality quiz. You can't game it. Or at least, you can't game it easily, because the questions aren't obviously about personality at all. They ask about preferences, habits, how you typically spend your time, what kinds of tasks you find satisfying or draining. The FBI has never publicly released the full scoring criteria. But psychologists who have studied law enforcement hiring believe the Bureau is screening for a very specific psychological profile: high conscientiousness, moderate agreeableness, high stress tolerance, and, crucially, low impulsivity. They want people who think before they act. Every time, under any circumstances. Because in the field, the cost of acting before you think can be catastrophic. Here's something most people don't know. The FBI actively screens out certain high-scoring traits. Extremely high scores on dominance measures, the kind of person who always needs to be in charge, are a yellow flag. Not because leadership is bad, but because agents have to operate within chains of command. They have to take orders from supervisors they may disagree with, defer to prosecutors, coordinate with other agencies, and sometimes stand down when every instinct tells them to move forward. The person who is most confident they should be an FBI agent is often the person least suited to the actual work. Phase 3, the physical fitness test. Before you can move forward, you have to pass a standardized physical test. Sit-ups, push-ups, a 300-meter sprint, a 1.5-mile run. This sounds straightforward, and mostly it is, but there's a layer underneath the obvious. The physical test isn't just measuring fitness. It's measuring whether you prepared. Agents are expected to maintain fitness standards throughout their careers. The Bureau is watching whether a candidate who knew the test was coming showed up ready, whether they put in the work beforehand. Former applicants who failed the physical and were given a chance to retest have noted that the examiners asked surprisingly detailed questions about their training regimen. Not to be cruel, but to understand the candidate's relationship to preparation, discipline, and long-term commitment. The FBI wants to know, when you have a goal and time to work toward it, what do? Phase 4, the polygraph. This is where the investigation gets genuinely interesting. Every FBI agent candidate must pass a polygraph examination, and the questions asked during FBI polygraphs are far more extensive and far stranger than what most people expect. Yes, they ask about criminal history, drug use, contacts with foreign nationals. That's the standard stuff. But they also ask questions designed to probe the edges of your honesty in situations where most people fudge the truth. Have you ever taken something from a workplace that wasn't yours? Have you ever driven drunk, even once? Have you ever shared information that was told to you in confidence? Almost everyone has done at least one of those things. The FBI knows that. What the polygraph is actually testing for, according to former examiners who have spoken publicly about the process, isn't perfect virtue. It's the willingness to be honest about imperfection. A candidate who sits across from a polygraph examiner and claims they have never done anything remotely questionable is, statistically, almost certainly lying. And the Bureau knows the difference between a person who once took a pin from the office and a person who will take a bribe. The distinction isn't what you did. It's whether you can look someone in the eye and tell the truth about it. But here's the contradiction that nobody talks about. The polygraph is scientifically controversial. The American Psychological Association has stated clearly that polygraphs are not reliable lie detectors. The physiological signals they measure, heart rate, breathing, skin conductance, can be triggered by anxiety, not just deception. An honest person who is nervous can fail. A skilled liar who is calm can pass. The FBI knows this, and they use polygraphs anyway. Why? Because the polygraph isn't really the test. The conversation around the polygraph is the test. The questions asked before the machine is even turned on. The follow-up discussion after the results. The way a candidate responds when they're told their results show deception. Former FBI investigators have said that some of the most valuable information in the entire hiring process comes from watching how candidates react when they're challenged. When they're told something unexpected. When the ground shifts beneath them. Do they stay calm? Do they get defensive? Do they go quiet and think? Or do they collapse? Phase 5, the interview panels. If you've made it this far, you sit before a panel of experienced agents for a structured interview. The questions are standardized. The scoring is rubric-based. and the scenarios they present are specifically designed to surface how you make decisions when there's no obviously right answer. A typical scenario might go something like this. You're working undercover. Your partner does something that appears to violate protocol, but you're not certain. The operation is at a critical phase. What do you do? There is no clean answer. And that's the point. The FBI isn't looking for candidates who can identify the right answer. They're looking for candidates who can articulate how they think through situations where the right answer is unclear. The process, the reasoning, the values they fall back on when the rules don't give them a roadmap. Phase 6, the background investigation. This is the part most people underestimate, and it is extraordinarily thorough. The FBI doesn't just run your records. They interview your neighbors, your former roommates, your college professors, your ex-employers, your childhood friends if they can find them. They're building a picture, not of who you claim to be, but of who the people around you have experienced you to be over years and decades, in moments when you weren't performing for anyone. One former agent described the background investigation this way. They're not looking for anything specific. They're looking for the gap between who you say you are and who you actually are. That gap, however small, is what the investigation is designed to find. Section 4, the theories. What does this layered, elaborate, psychologically sophisticated process reveal about what the Bureau believes and what it's afraid of? There are a few ways to think about this. Theory 1. The FBI is building a psychological immune system. Under this framework, the selection process isn't primarily about finding the best investigators. It's about filtering out the people most likely to become problems. Corrupt agents, rogue operators, people who use institutional power for personal ends, agents who crack under pressure and make catastrophic decisions. Every major FBI scandal in history, and there have been several, has involved an agent who passed the hiring process and then, over time, drifted. Robert Hansen, one of the most damaging intelligence moles in American history, was an FBI agent for 27 years before he was caught spying for the Soviet Union and Russia. He passed every test. Under Theory 1, the Bureau's hiring process is a constant arms race against its own potential failure points. Not perfect, nothing is, but continuously refined by studying what went wrong with the people who got through and shouldn't have. Theory 2. The process is selecting for obedience, not excellence. This is the more critical reading, and it comes from former agents and academics who have studied law enforcement culture. The argument goes like this. The FBI selection process, despite its sophistication, has a built-in bias toward conformity. It rewards candidates who can read what the organization wants and perform accordingly. It penalizes outliers, unconventional thinkers, and people who push back on authority, even when pushing back is the right call. Some of the most important investigative breakthroughs in FBI history came from agents who broke with procedure, who trusted their instincts over the chain of command, who refused to close a case everyone else wanted closed. If the selection process is filtering those people out, it may be protecting the institution from corruption at the cost of filtering out the people who would protect the institution from itself. This is a genuine tension that the Bureau has never fully resolved. Theory 3. The hidden test is self-knowledge. The third framework, and the one I find most compelling, is that the entire process, from the polygraph to the panel interview to the background investigation, is fundamentally a test of one thing: self-knowledge. Can you accurately describe who you are? Can you identify your own weaknesses without being destroyed by them? Can you hold your own history honestly, including the parts that don't reflect well on you? The FBI is not hiring saints. It is hiring people who will spend their careers navigating morally complex situations, making high-stakes decisions with incomplete information, and doing it under institutional pressure that rewards certain outcomes over honest ones. The only people who can do that reliably, over a 20 or 25-year career, are people who know themselves, who can feel the pull toward a comfortable lie and choose the harder truth anyway. That's not a skill you can teach in Quantico. You either have it or you don't. And the selection process is, at its core, trying to find the people who do. Section 5. The most likely answer. Here's what the evidence suggests when you put all of it together. The FBI hiring process is not primarily a test of intelligence, physical fitness, or even ethics. It is a test of consistency. The question the Bureau is asking, at every stage, in every format, through every examiner and polygraph and background interview, is always the same question. Is this person the same person in every room? Are they the same in the polygraph chair as they are in the panel interview? Are they the same with former colleagues as they are with an examiner who's watching closely? Do they describe themselves the way the people who actually know them would describe them? Because an agent who is one person in public and another Robert Hansen proved that. Others have too. But the investigation they've built is genuinely remarkable. And the philosophy underneath it, that character is revealed by consistency, not performance, is something that goes far beyond law enforcement. It's a framework for understanding people that most of us never think to apply in our own lives. Section 6. Conclusion. There's something quietly profound about what the FBI has spent over a century trying to build. Not a perfect institution. They've never claimed that, and history wouldn't let them anyway. But a method. A repeatable, evidence-based method for answering one of the hardest questions in human experience. Can I trust this person? We all ask that question. About employees. About partners. About friends. And most of us answer it through instinct. Through first impressions. Through the way someone shakes our hand or meets our eyes. The FBI decided that wasn't enough. That instinct could be fooled. That performance could be sustained long enough to pass a single interview. That the only way to really know someone was to look at them from multiple angles, over time, through different lenses, and see whether the picture stayed consistent. It's not a perfect system. Hansen passed it. Others slipped through. That's who the FBI has always been looking for. And the unsolved part of this mystery, the part that no hiring process has ever fully cracked, is whether you can truly find that person before you need them, or whether you only find out who they really are in the moment that matters most. One final thought. The FBI receives roughly 35,000 applications for special agent positions every year. Typically, fewer than 5% make it through the full selection process. That means that somewhere in those rejected 95%, the people who were too honest, too dominant, too nervous, too unconventional, there are probably people who would have made extraordinary agents. And somewhere in the accepted 5%, the people who answered every question right, who performed every role perfectly, there are probably people who shouldn't have made it. The process is remarkable, and it still can't read minds. Which raises one last question. If the most sophisticated human evaluation system ever built by a major government agency still can't perfectly sort people, what does that tell us about how well any of us really know each other? Think about that the next time someone looks you in the eye and says, "Trust me." Could you pass the FBI special agent hiring process? What part do you think would trip you up? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe for more investigations into the hidden systems shaping the world around us.